So I'll kind of wrap things up. We'll tilt to the legal side of things.
Okay.
So you labor and employment and then family law. And I think you told me about 95% of your family law clients are fathers.
They are
So
95.
so why fathers? What led to that? Was it intentional? Was it accidental? What happened there?
Well, it was intentional. As I was growing up as a young child, I never knew my biological father. And I hated the fact that I didn't know my biological father because my other two sisters, they knew their fathers. And so it was very hurtful, very painful for me not to know my own father. And then at the age of 42, I'm 45 now, but at the age of 42, I finally realized or found out who my father was. And at that time, he still didn't want to acknowledge me as his daughter. We did get a DNA
Mm-hmm.
test, but I found out that it was my mother who kept him away from me. And so I had just I just made a vow to myself when I was going to law school that that was one of the things that I was going to do was fight for father's rights because for the very fact that I didn't know my father and I knew as a child I went through a lot of suffering through rejection and abandonment issues, and I didn't want another child to have to go through what I had experienced.
That's awesome. And I mean, I think that's sitting on the opposite side of the table, I think, of a lot of individuals and our regular viewers, Ted Bush, Sean Kohlmeyer, a lot of the men where they were on the other side of it, where they may have been the
Uh-huh.
father who is withheld. You have a very different perspective of that and a very powerful perspective
Yeah.
in terms of what happens when a father is taken out of someone's life and the trauma that you had to deal with and you had to
Yeah.
go through as an adult to kind of get everything situated.
Absolutely. Because even as an adult, I struggled with father issues, even through my marriage, because of the issue of just not trusting that a man would be there. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's greater than just the child not having their father involved. It really does carry a stench into adulthood and how that affects a woman
Yeah.
or a man as they grow up without their father.
Yeah, that's definitely very, very powerful and a different perspective than the people who are usually vocal on this issue.
Yeah.
The equal and shared parenting or father's rights, however you want to place it. Usually, the opposition wants to say it's the angry dads club, it's
Mm,
deadbeat dads. And
right.
when we have voices like yours out there, that can be very, very powerful. That no, this isn't a movement about dad. This isn't a movement about men. This is
Right.
something that impacts children very deeply for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, got one last question, and then we're gonna
Okay.
parlay into the legal stuff. So you get one word. Describe Indiana family courts.
Oh, Mark. Um, we're getting there. I know that's two words, but getting there.
Getting there. I honestly I think I talked to a ton of attorneys in this space, and as much as it's awful right now and there are terrible things that happen, I go talk to anybody who, and one of the first things a veteran attorney will tell me is, hey, what was it, David Pissarra, Michael Lambert in Alabama?
Hmm.
They were like, hey, 15 years ago, it was
Yeah.
completely different. You
Yeah.
were going to get every other weekend and that dinner visit on Wednesday, and that was your
Yeah.
best hope.
Hmm.
And now I sit here and I tell clients, like, all things being equal, if work schedules don't get in the way, if there's not any
Yep.
allegations, if there aren't any issues, these judges, I can get you 40, 45% at minimum.
Yeah.
So I think that's very fair on a national level
Oh,
that
absolutely.
we're getting there. And I tell everybody every week, it's a snowball that's rolling downhill.
Hmm.
We're at 2 states with 50-50 presumption in parenting. We had 6 states in 2021 pass better laws.
Wow.
This is something that went from a fringe movement to
Uh huh.
something that is rolling downhill, and we're going to see, I think, major change in the next 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.